Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Liz and this is Let's Get Lizical, where we do everything card making. Today we're going to be doing some color blocking with two different cards. I have this cute little set from Hello Bluebird that I bought before they sold all of their individual sets, and I'm going to be using these in the different quadrants of the card. I saw a similar card done by Yana Smokala last year that kind of like inspired me to do this. She did it in like two different tones of the same color, but I'm going to be doing my standard red and green traditional card and then a blue slash darker blue card as well. And we're going to start off by creating our card fronts. And what I did for this one was I have my shipping label paper, which I use to do this type of paper piecing. And I cut it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I folded it in half both ways just so I can get my center point and my lines to follow. And then I'm going to trim it down with my guillotine trimmer to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just using the grid line on the trimmer to line up the lines, if that makes sense. Like I did the center line at the 2-inch mark, and then I cut off the side, flipped it, and cut off the other side. And for the other one, I was doing it to, I think it's 2 1/2 plus 1/8. So 2 5/8 if anybody is good at math. And knows where that is on their cutting board. I know fractions get a little confusing sometimes, but since I went to design school, it's actually become a lot easier. It was very hard for me to doing fractions in high school, but once I got out and started doing it for college, it just became easier for some reason. And then for this other one, I tried doing it by drawing on the back of the sticky paper, because that's actually the side that gets printed to, you know, add to a box or whatever for shipping. And maybe next time, if I was going to do it that way, I would use like a Sharpie or something darker. The pencil was very hard to see through. I did end up getting it done, but again, something a bit darker would have been a bit easier to see. Alternatively, you could just like slap this on a larger scrap as well and just make sure that your panels are all straight on the, you know, center of the card, and then you could just cut it from there and it'd be a little less mathing. But right now I'm just coloring the images. I did color off the set that goes with the red and green background off camera just because it does take a lot of time. Even just this filming portion, it was, I think, another 45 minutes for this card. So then plus the extra probably like 15 to 20 minutes I spent coloring the other images. So it took me over an hour to do these two cards, and most of the time is spent in the coloring. So if you wanted to, you could do less images, or you know, do some layer stamping or stenciling or something that you didn't have to spend so much time coloring. But I wanted to color these images because I wanted to do, again, a more traditional fox color, and then here I'm doing kind of like grayish, and I don't even know if these foxes exist. I guess they were kind of like the white foxes, but I did them more gray tone. So they're somewhat Arctic foxes, but they're really cute. This one's actually my favorite colorway. I just kind of kept the colors light and like kind of pastel-y in like green, blue, and purple, and I will let you guys just watch me color, and I will come back once that's done. Okay, and now that that's done, I've taken them to my scan and cut them out, and the one little foxtail got cut off. I might have picked my area to be a little too close to the tail, but I'm just gonna add like a little tiny piece of cardstock behind it and just kind of like re-bring in that line. It's not really noticeable unless you're watching this video, but you know, like the recipient's not going to know I added a little piece of cardstock there just to continue that white outline, and it's very minimal. So, you know, there's just a way to fix things up without having to start over, because I really didn't want to have to color that again. And I picked one of the sentiments from the same set, and I'm just going to stamp it on some white cardstock and add it to the center of the card for each. I'm going to be using Simon's Slate ink for the blue option, and then for the red-green one I'll be using Noble Fur from Lawn Fawn to stamp that one. I think there was something a little bit wrong with this stamp. There was like a little bit of a defect in it. There's a line that goes through it that I couldn't get rid of. I thought it might have been just like a cat hair that got in the way or something, but it wasn't. It's not like a huge deal, but it was kind of like annoying me that I couldn't get rid of these little tiny gaps that are in it, but it happens sometimes. You know, manufacturing process is not always 100%, and it, you know, you do get defects here and there. I think I might have had maybe 2 or 3 stamp sets that have had like minor defects in them, but they're definitely like fixable. If you had a colored marker or pen that was similar to the color you were stamping in, like if you were just doing black, it'd be a bit easier to match, but with the colors it's a bit harder. You could like fill it in, but again, it wasn't too big of an issue, so I ended up just leaving it and dealing with the minor defect. And then I'm just going to cut them out using my guillotine trimmer and adhere them to the card with some foam tape. I'm also going to pop up all of the foxes on foam tape, just to add a little bit of dimension to the card and a little bit more interest. And for each card I do a slightly different layout. Like I'm using the exact same images in the exact same spots, and I am doing the same layouts and everything, but like for the blue option, I kind of centered the foxes between the top and the bottom of the box that it's going in. And for the red and green option, I kind of centered them between the sentiment and the bottom or the top of the box, if that makes sense. You kind of see what I mean in a bit. But with this first option, because I'm centering it in the box for each quadrant, and then that sentiment kind of cuts into the box, like they're a little bit closer to the sentiment, whereas when I centered them on the second card between the edge of the sentiment and the end of the card, then they sit a little bit farther away. I think I like the colorway of the first one better, but the layout of the second one better, just because they're not sitting right on the sentiment like these ones are, and touching it in some cases. So it's just like personal preference. It is kind of cute that they are, you know, centered in their quadrants, and it's just kind of like the sentiment was thrown on there after, even though it was thrown on there first. But I think like the second one better. And when each card is completed, I am going to glue them on the card base. This time I did top folding card bases just because I had some from another card that I did. Like I cut up a bunch of card bases at a time, so I did some in top folding. Most of them I do side folding, just because I prefer that. It's a little bit more sturdy when it's on a shelf. If it's being displayed, top folding ones tend to like spread out over time and they slowly like kind of like sink down, I find. But the side folding to me is a bit better. I did get a bit of glue on this background as well, which I'm a klutz, so it happens. But I just used my adhesive eraser on that to try to get rid of as much as possible, which you can do once the glue, you can do it while it's still a little bit wet and tacky, but it's better to do it once it dries, because then it kind of just like flakes off a bit. But you have to do it gently so you don't rub off your cardstock at the same time. And now I'm just gonna put these images on. And again, I'm placing them centered between the top or bottom of the sentiment to the top or bottom of the card, which you'll see here in a second. I'm just removing all of my tape at once. I'm kind of trying to do this assembly line style where I just do like one task at a time and then move on. It's a little bit faster than trying to do, you know, add the tape and the glue, do it, add the tape and the glue, add it, like, but yeah, so this is me trying to center it as much as possible between the edge of the card and the sentiment, and I think I like this one better just because they're a little bit more spaced out from the sentiment itself. But those are our cards for today, guys. Thanks again for joining me as always. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Which one of these is your favorite? If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe because I'd love to have you here. And don't forget to join me on my socials, Instagram and Facebook, to see any additional content that comes out between videos. Thanks again, guys. Till next time. Bye.